Bill Belichick never evolved. He was always treating Tom Brady like that guy that arrived in his 20s. He didn't adjust. And when you take into account the fact that Tom Brady, who played there, was there 20 years, 6 Super Bowl wins, 9 Super Bowl appearances, okay? For him to do what he did, he should have never been just another guy. He should have never been just another player. You know, everybody ain't Keyshawn Johnson. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you got cats on your show in the morning where you know what is Jay and Max. Well, damn it, it's Keyshawn. Keyshawn is Keyshawn, okay? All right? Everybody's valuable, but everybody ain't the same. Okay, it's just that simple. When you look at athletes, everybody's not the same. And when you have this mentality that I'm not going to evolve and I'm not going to adjust and I'm going to be as rigid as I've always been, and you're just another guy to me, that's a problem. I reported the day that Tom Brady announced that he was leaving New England, that I was specifically told if Tom wanted to stay, we would have worked it out. And all it would have took for him to stay is Bill Belichick saying, I want you to stay. And the fact that Bill Belichick couldn't bring himself to do that is a problem. And then when you take into account the fact that Bill Belichick is essentially your GM as well as your head coach, the absence of personnel that they had for years. No, it might not have been a combination of Evans and Godwin and O.J. Howard and Gronk and Antonio Brown and Scott Miller. But damn it, you certainly could have upgraded to a point where it wasn't as bereft of talent as it was Tom Brady's last year in New England. He didn't do that for years.
Can I cut you off, though?
Sure.
Didn't they just win a damn Super Bowl 2 Super Bowls ago?
Yes.
What are you talking about, Stephen A?
Let me tell you why. Because Tom Brady, as y'all have said, remember, I'm deferring to y'all. As y'all have said, Tom Brady looked around. He looked at the situation. He looked at what he was working with and didn't like it. So a lot of times that contributed. I realized that, first of all, it was a brilliant question. And to a lesser brilliant mind, you would have gotten away with that.
I'm not trying to get away with that.
That's not what. I'm getting ready to tell you what. I'm getting ready to answer the question. Tom Brady, because that points to what Tom Brady is saying. This is why he feels he should be appreciated. Because on many occasions, he looked at what he was able to do and how his talent and his level of brilliance were able to overcome what you lacked in terms of what you gave him to work with. He found a way to work around it anyway, and you still wouldn't appreciate it if you're Bill Belichick. That's the issue.
When you go out and you spending money for years to get to 9 Super Bowls and win 6 of them, at some point, there is a salary cap. You have to pay the piper. No matter what anybody says, this year was the time for them to spend money, not last season during the pandemic. Nobody could spend any money.
I understand that.
Nobody could spend any money, so they couldn't go out and get the type of players to rebuild.
Keyshawn, remember, Tom Brady, for many years, over the course of his career, had, altered his salary, modified, took pay cuts, all of that stuff. He made all the necessary sacrifices to assist in Bill Belichick winning. So when we ask the question, should Bill Belichick have regrets? You're damn right, because he didn't just do it for you in terms of his performance on the field. He made adjustments to put you in a position to go out and get some personnel in order for him to win, and you still wouldn't appreciate it.
No, hold on. Keyshawn, look at me. It feels like you're handling the situation as Keyshawn Johnson, not Tom Brady. Like, you're diffusing the situation. You're like, it's all business. Tampa was a better situation. How you would have felt about it. But I don't believe that's how Tom Brady feels about it when we hear his father coming out and saying, like, damn right it's personal. Bill wanted him out. And then Alex Guerrero, hold on, let me finish. Then Alex Guerrero coming out and saying what he did about the mistreatment. So I feel like you're looking at, there's just purely this business. There's so much more to that. There's 20 years of history.
I do, okay. Have I been around coaches in my career that wear on me? Absolutely. Tom's been around Bill that wear on me, or wear on him. 20 years of Bill Belichick grinding the same things. Of course you're going to feel a certain way. That's why Bill said the situation was better down in Tampa for him. That's why I said what I said about personnel. It's better in Tampa for him. But you can't sit here and tell me that for 20 years, Tom Brady didn't get to do what he wanted to do, because I remember many times looking in the offseason and Tom Brady was off doing whatever he was doing with his family, enjoying while everybody else was in training camp or mini camps working, because they gave him some leeway. Does Tom Brady need to be treated like Michael Jordan? Absolutely. There's no question about it. But guess what, Stephen A. and Molly? That's not his plan. That's not Bill Belichick. That's just not who he is.
Right.
He'd rather take the L than take the W's if he has to change.
Okay. And
that's just how
listen,
stubborn coaches.
But
Bill Jackson's stubborn in basketball.
But I think what you're missing, we're not saying that Bill Belichick is any different than you described. What we're saying is you should regret that in the end if you're about.
But I don't think he's regretting
I understand
it, though, 'cause he ain't gonna.
No, we're not talking about what he feels. We're talking about what he should feel, in our opinion.
Yes.
And what I'm saying to you is that he should regret it if he's about winning, because the reality is that the situation that you have now, the situation that you had last year, would have been non-existent if 5 years earlier you had sat up there and go, damn, this is a dude that's really done a lot for me.
So maybe my mind is a little twisted, because when you're having conversations and that same question is like, what do you think? He goes, and this is from Belichick in conversation.
Sure.
That he doesn't regret the situation because they had great years together. It was fine. They went to 9 Super Bowls and won 6.
Okay.
So he's satisfied with what they were able to accomplish over a 20-year period.
All right.
So that's why I say.
So Bill's cool, but we're saying maybe Tom Brady
Maybe
isn't.
not.
Because
Maybe Tom
he
isn't.
would have preferred to stay there.
Probably
and
so.
now he's probably happy with how it planned out.
Oh, he's certainly happy. You could just
Of
tell
course.
based on how
So the plan
is
worked
talking
out
a lot.
better for him.
Yeah, it worked out better for him.
But
because
I think
you're being stuck though,
his
Molly.
wife wouldn't have went and talked to the owner. Trust
Well,
me.
yeah,
The wife-
exactly.
if his heart wasn't with the organization.
It's like he felt like he was being stuck in jail.
I go back. See, this is the difference. See, I'm the affectionate. It's like an oxymoron. I'm the affectionate nightmare of this man. I've known this man for over 20 years. You understand what I'm trying to say? You talk. If he were Tom Brady, and he got treated like that, he'd be like, you damn right he regrets it. He should regret it. He should have treated me better.
Well, I
That's what
just
he
said
was.
that.
It's hard though, Stephen A, because
Right.
I was never treated
Right.
a certain way. Like my coaches always treated me different.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.